Chapter 43-32. More than a dozen strong cultivators of the Angel clan chased after Lu Ming to kill him. Some of their attacks were terrifying. They weren't any weaker than the strong angel who had attacked Lu Ming. They had the strength of the seventh great supreme god layer and 6 stars. There were 4 of them. These 4 people were the strongest among the dozen or so angels. Lu Ming could deal with one of them, but he was no match for 4 of them. Clang! The sound of a sword rang out as Yi Ling attacked. He stabbed out with his sword, which transformed into 4 beams of sword light that pierced towards the 4 strongest people. After 4 consecutive booms, Yi Ling's body retreated rapidly. Although he had blocked the attacks of the 4 strong cultivators, he had been pushed back. Is this Yi Ling's limit? He's close to 10 stars. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Yi Ling had the cultivation of the 6th great supreme god layer. He was 1 level lower than the strong angels, but he had blocked the attacks of the 4 strong cultivators by himself. The peak of 9-star battle prowess was close to 10 stars. One of the strongest cultivators of the Heaven Destroyer was terrifying. At this moment, the angels' hearts could no longer be described with the word astonishment. Lu Ming and Yi Ling's fighting strength couldn't be described as terrifying anymore. It was abnormal. "We must kill them," shouted the young man from the heavenly human clan. He was covered by the power of the sky. His injuries healed quickly. His fighting strength returned to its peak. He took out a weapon from the Taishang Immortal City and continued to attack Lu Ming. At the same time, 2 of the 7th great supreme god layer cultivators with 6 stars left Yi Ling and charged towards Lu Ming. Apart from them, there were a few other heavenly human clan members. The others surrounded Yi Ling. In addition to the 4 strongest experts, the combat power of the other angels was also not to be underestimated. For example, there was a 7th great supreme god layer cultivator with 5 stars of fighting strength. They were no match for Lu Ming or Yi Ling in a one-on-one fight. However, if they joined forces, they were still a threat. Lu Ming retreated quickly in the face of so many strong cultivators. "You want to leave? Kill!" A burly man roared. Terrifying sword light whistled, tearing through the void, slashing towards Lu Ming with astonishing speed. Heaven-breaking style. Lu Ming unleashed the sky-breaking style. His body transformed into a long spear, breaking through the air and breaking the sword light of his opponent. His figure did not stop as he continued to stab towards his opponent. The other party's expression changed, and he angrily shouted, "Heavenly punishment!" His sword light was shrouded in a layer of strange power. This was the power of heavenly punishment. That strong man had the strength of the 7th great supreme god layer and 6 stars. He also controlled one of the strongest celestial energies, the divine punishment force. With a clang, the sword light collided with Lu Ming. This time, Lu Ming's body and mind trembled, and he couldn't help but take a few steps back. However, the other party also retreated. They were evenly matched in this exchange. Luckily, this person has only grasped a little bit of heavenly punishment's power. Lu Ming felt relieved. Even though that strong man from the heavenly human clan had grasped a little bit of heavenly punishment's power, he was not as strong as the young genius from the angel clan. However, even though he had only grasped a little bit of heavenly punishment's power, his fighting strength had increased a lot. He was now able to fight against Lu Ming. Originally, Lu Ming's fighting strength was at the limit of 12 stars, while his opponent was only at the limit of 6 stars. Even though there was a difference of 2 cultivation levels between them, Lu Ming could still suppress his opponent. However, his opponent had used heavenly punishment's power to increase his fighting strength to the limit of 6 stars. In this way, the difference between their fighting strengths was not that big. Heavenly punishment. At that moment, another strong man from the Angel clan who had the strength of the 7th great supreme god layer and 6 stars also attacked Lu Ming. He used another kind of heavenly punishment's power, the heavenly punishment force. Great destructive energy rushed towards Lu Ming. Its power was not any weaker than Lu Ming's full-strength attack. In addition, other strong cultivators also attacked Lu Ming from different directions. Facing so many strong cultivators, Lu Ming's face darkened. He felt great pressure. He used the greater aurora technique, and his figure flashed in another direction, avoiding the opponent's attack. "You can't escape." Surround him. The heavenly human tribe shouted and chased after Lu Ming. They did not stop attacking. On the other side, Yi Ling was also at a disadvantage. Similar to Lu Ming's situation, the two strong men from the heavenly human tribe besieging him had also grasped the heavenly punishment's power. Although they had only grasped a little bit of it, their fighting strength had increased a lot. Neither of them was weaker than him. When the two of them joined forces with other strong cultivators, Yi Ling was also at a disadvantage. He mainly used his defense to surround them and seized the opportunity to counterattack. In this way, Lu Ming and Yi Ling were both at a disadvantage. What should I do? Do I have to leave? Lu Ming's mind raced. With his and Yi Ling's strength, it was not difficult for them to leave. The heavenly human tribe could not stop them. However, if they left, they would not be able to get the bow of the ship and form the tribulation crossing flying boat. Without the tribulation crossing flying boat, how could they cross the tribulation crossing sea? They were unwilling to leave without getting the bow of the ship. The bow of the ship is in that guy's storage ring. I'll find a chance to take that guy's storage ring. Lu Ming glanced at the young prodigy of the heavenly human tribe. In an instant, dozens of thoughts and ideas flashed through his mind. Unfortunately, none of them were feasible. The main reason was that the few strong men from the heavenly human tribe were too strong. They kept Lu Ming busy. There were other strong cultivators too. Moreover, the young prodigy of the heavenly human tribe was also very strong. His combat strength was 1 star lower than Lu Ming's. It would not be easy to take his storage ring. Lu Ming used the Great Aurora skill to dodge the other party's attack while looking for an opportunity. At this moment, a few figures suddenly rushed out from the ground in the distance and rushed toward them. Lu Ming was startled at first. He thought that the other party had come to help. However, he was immediately overjoyed. Because Lu Ming knew those people. They were not people from the heavenly palace, but people from the Heaven Destroyer. They had come to help. Lu Ming even knew the name of one of them. Tian Xinyu, a peerless genius from the Heaven Destroyer. She was as famous as Yi Ling. In addition, there were also a few strong men from the Heaven Destroyer. The auras of those strong men were extremely shocking. They had reached the 7th level of the Great God Realm. Roar! Roar! Even before they arrived, a few strong men from the Heaven Exterminating Army let out terrifying roars. Their bodies rapidly grew in size until they were millions of feet tall. This is the primitive divine body. They have the bloodline of the primitive divine spirit. They are traitors. The people from the heavenly human tribe shouted. The strong men had the bloodline of the primitive divine spirit. They were the descendants of the primitive divine spirit. Their combat strength was also extremely strong. They definitely had a combat strength of 6 stars. A few huge fists punched toward the strongest cultivators of the heavenly human tribe. Facing such an attack, the heavenly human tribe did not dare to be careless. They quickly blocked it. Chapter 43:33. Boom, boom, boom. The two sides engaged in a fierce battle, causing violent explosions and overflowing energy. For people from the Heaven Destroyer had come, and they were all experts. Other than Tian Xinyu, the other 3 were all in their prime. They were all 7th-layer Great God Realm cultivators, and their combat strength was no weaker than the 4 strongest people from the heavenly human tribe. They charged over and engaged in a fierce battle with the 3 strongest people from the heavenly human tribe. As a result, Lu Ming felt the pressure on him lessen. He struck out and forced a 7th-layer Great God Realm cultivator with 5-star combat strength back. Hand over your storage ring. Tian Xinyu had already charged toward the young genius from the heavenly human tribe. Obviously, they were also here for the bow position. 9 full moons floated above Tian Xuanyue's head, emitting pure white light. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 9 full moons turned into 9 saber lights and slashed toward the young genius from the heavenly human tribe. 9 moons saber. You're the traitor Tian Xinyu. The young genius from the heavenly human tribe shouted. Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace were mortal enemies. They fought all year round and had a lot of dealings with each other. They knew about each other's top geniuses. They didn't recognize Yi Ling, but they recognized Tian Xinyu. Since you know I'm Tian Xinyu, Tian Xinyu shouted coldly. Nine Moon's saber kept slashing at the young genius from the heavenly human tribe. The young genius from the heavenly human tribe kept flashing. He didn't dare to confront Tian Xinhue directly and focused on dodging. There were more than a dozen people from the heavenly human tribe. Many of them charged toward Tian Xinhue to share the pressure from the young genius from the heavenly human tribe. These people's combat strength was also very terrifying. Although they weren't as strong as Tian Xinhue, the difference wasn't too big. They could pose a fatal threat to Tian Xinhue. Tian Xinhue had to defend herself and fight against these people. Tian Xinhue, you're the one who's going to die today, the young genius from the heavenly human tribe shouted. The power of heavenly punishment bloomed in his palm, and streaks of pure white lightning struck toward Tian Xinhue. For a moment, it was difficult for Tian Xinhue to deal with the young genius from the heavenly human tribe. The four strongest cultivators from the heavenly human tribe were fighting with Yi Ling and the three descendants of the primordial divine spirits. As for Lu Ming, there were only two people attacking him. The strength of these two people was not bad, but they were not Lu Ming's match at all. Heaven-breaking style. Lu Ming let out a low roar as he pushed his battle prowess to the extreme. His body trembled as he transformed into two dazzling rays of light that charged toward the two heavenly human tribe elites. After two loud booms, the two heavenly human powerhouses retreated rapidly. Kill! Lu Ming shouted in a low voice, charging towards one of them with all his might. This person's battle prowess was 2 stars lower than Lu Ming's, so how could he block it? The spear light pierced through his forehead, and he died on the spot. Whoosh! Lu Ming's entire body elongated, and the long spear that he had transformed into also became longer and longer. He swept it out and attacked another person. That person had the strength of the 7th Great Supreme God Layer and 5 stars of battle strength. He was only 1 star weaker than Lu Ming. However, the difference of 1 star was not small. It was equivalent to the difference of 1 divine emperor layer. The person fought back with all his might, and when he collided with Lu Ming's long spear, there was a loud explosion. The person screamed in agony as his body was sent flying, and he coughed up blood. However, Lu Ming did not stop attacking. He pushed the heaven-breaking style to the extreme, and spear lights continued to attack the person. Layers of spear shadows completely surrounded the person. After blocking a few more attacks, the person was finally defeated and was killed by Lu Ming. That way, Lu Ming had no opponent left. Lu Ming glanced around and finally looked at Yi Ling, and the strong man from the heavenly human tribe had already exchanged a few dozen attacks, but there was no clear winner. The two of them were crazily attacking each other, trying to defeat each other. If this continued, it would be a competition of battle experience and endurance. Their strength was similar, so in the end, it would be battle experience, mentality, and endurance that would determine the winner. However, Lu Ming would not wait any longer. Swoosh! Lu Ming continued to use the heaven-breaking style. He turned into a dazzling spear light and pierced towards the strong man from the heavenly human tribe who was fighting with Yi Ling. The heaven-breaking style contained the power of the ultimate Aurora skill. It was too fast. In an instant, it was near the strong man from the heavenly human tribe. The strong man from the heavenly human tribe could not help but tense up. He shouted angrily and turned around to slash at Lu Ming with his sword. With a loud bang, Lu Ming's attack was blocked and he drifted backward. However, the strong man from the heavenly human tribe also staggered a few steps back. How could Yi Ling let go of such a rare opportunity? Swoosh! He became one with his sword and pushed his combat strength to the extreme. He slashed at the strong man from the heavenly human tribe. Although the strong man from the heavenly human tribe tried his best to dodge the attack, his combat strength was similar to that of Lu Ming and Yi Ling. He had just been pushed back by Lu Ming. How could he dodge the attack? Poof! Blood splattered everywhere. The strong man from the heavenly human tribe was still hit by the sword light. A hideous wound appeared on his chest. It went all the way to his back and blood flowed out. The terrifying sword chi in the wound rushed towards the other parts of his body. The strong man from the heavenly human tribe coughed up blood. He was severely injured. Kill! Kill! Lu Ming and Yi Ling shouted and charged towards the strong man from 2 different directions. Damn it! Let's retreat first. The strong man from the heavenly human tribe roared, and a terrifying aura erupted from his body. He was going all out and started to burn the power of the heavens. His entire body was like a ball of fire as he charged into the distance. This person's combat strength was not comparable to Lu Ming or Yi Ling. At this moment, the two of them could not stop him. He rushed out and flew into the distance. He did not dare to stay. He could not last long in this state. If he stayed, he might be left behind forever. Damn it! The other heavenly human tribe members were shocked. Among them, the strongest expert had escaped. This had broken the balance of power between the two sides. The people from the heavenly human tribe started to panic. Yi Ling, get to the front of the ship. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Yi Ling. Before he finished his sentence, he had already charged towards the young sky pride from the heavenly human tribe. Yi Ling understood. He turned into a beam of sword light and charged towards the young sky pride from the heavenly human tribe. Damn it! Retreat! When the young sky pride from the heavenly human tribe saw this, he did not dare to stay any longer. He roared and ran away. However, Lu Ming had already prepared for this move. Teleportation skill. With a thought, the teleportation skill was used. Lu Ming disappeared from where he was. When he reappeared, he was in front of the young sky pride from the heavenly human tribe. His body was like a long spear as he stabbed towards the young sky pride. Heavenly punishment. The young sky pride from the heavenly human tribe roared and resisted with the power of heavenly punishment. Unfortunately, his combat strength was still not as good as Lu Ming's. The power of heavenly punishment was defeated, and the young sky pride from the heavenly human tribe coughed out blood and retreated. Yi Ling was behind him. He had already arrived. Chapter 43-34. Behind him, Yi Ling had already arrived. His sharp sword radiance was aimed at the heavenly human youth. The terrifying danger made the heavenly human youth roar in a frenzy. His body emitted a violent aura as he burned the power of the heavens. How dare you! How dare you! The other heavenly human elites roared and wanted to rush over to help. However, Tian Xinyue and the rest would not let them do as they wished. They did their best to hold back the heavenly human elites. You can't escape, Lu Ming said coldly as he attacked with all his might with Yi Ling. The heavenly human youth was weaker than Lu Ming and Yi Ling. Even if he burned the power of the heavens, he could not escape. Moreover, they were already prepared. No matter what, they had to capture this young genius from the heavenly human tribe. The attacks of the two, spear radiance and sword radiance, filled the entire void. No matter how hard the heavenly human youth tried, he could not break out. After a few explosions, the heavenly human youth screamed in pain. His body was in tatters, and he was severely injured. He almost died. If not for the fact that his life-saving ability was stronger than the others, he would have died. However, even if he did not die, he was severely injured. Swoosh! Yi Ling's sword radiance flashed. In the next moment, the heavenly human youth's glabella was pierced. His soul was destroyed, and he died on the spot. Lu Ming rushed over and reached out to grab the storage ring of the young man from the heavenly human tribe. Damn it! Damn it! You despicable bastards, traitors! You will be destroyed by the heavenly human tribe sooner or later. Let's leave this place first. The other heavenly human cultivators roared. At the same time, they felt a chill in their hearts. They roared a few times and did not dare to stay. They rushed into the distance in an attempt to escape. Lu Ming, Yi Ling, and the rest did not chase after them. The combat strength of these heavenly human cultivators was very strong. Although they had the upper hand, it was not that great. If the heavenly human cultivators wanted to escape, it would be difficult for them to stop them. Anyway, the heavenly human youth's storage ring had been left behind. Swoosh! Swoosh! In a flash, Tian Xinyue and the rest flew over. Tian Xinyu, thank you so much for your help this time. Yi Ling cupped his fists. They had known each other for a long time. There's no need to thank us. We've been hiding nearby for a long time, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Tian Xinyu smiled, looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to catch up so quickly. The forbidden body is really terrifying. Brother Tianqian, you're too courteous. This time, it's all thanks to you. Lu Ming replied politely. Clearly, Tianqian Yu and the others had long known about this and were hiding in the dark, waiting for an opportunity to strike. That's right. Let's check if there's a place for the bow of the ship in your storage ring. Tianqian Yu said. Lu Ming nodded. He took the storage ring and probed it with his soul sense. With one look, Lu Ming's face lit up. Inside, there was a position for the bow of the ship. Our luck is not bad. There are 2 items at the bow of the ship, one for each of us. Lu Ming waved his hand, and 2 items flew out from the bow of the ship. One of them flew towards Tianqian Yu. Tianqian Yu reached out and took it. Ahem, I'm still missing the keel and the deck. Do you have them in here? Tianqian Yu coughed twice, feeling a little embarrassed. Yes. Lu Ming nodded and waved his hand. The keel and the deck also flew to Tianqian Yu. This time, without the help of Tianqian Yu and the others, Lu Ming and Yi Ling would not have been able to get the bow of the ship. Now that he could get the bow of the ship, he was already very satisfied. They already had the other parts, so it was useless to keep them. Thank you, Brother Lu Ming. You can have the rest of the items in this storage ring. We have enough. Tianqian Yu said with a smile. Yes, the rest is yours. A descendant of the primordial divine spirit said. Lu Ming did not stand on ceremony and kept it for the time being. There were still many desolation pills in the storage ring. He would divide them equally with Yi Ling, then we'll take our leave for now. See you in the core area. Tianqian Yu cupped her fists and left with the descendants of the primordial divine spirit. They could see that Lu Ming and Yi Ling were working together. The few of them were also working together. They had no intention of working together with Lu Ming and the others. It was not always better to have more people working together. The more people there were, the less they would get if they obtained the opportunity. It was fine as long as the number of people was about the same. After Tianqian Yu and the others left, Lu Ming and Yi Ling also left the place. Hundreds of thousands of miles away, Lu Ming and Yi Ling landed in a valley. The 2 of them waved their hands and pieces of the crossing adversity flying ship flew out. A total of 9 pieces of the crossing adversity flying ship flew into the air. As if sensing something, the 9 pieces vibrated and emitted a dazzling glow. Then, they began to grow bigger and closer to each other. There's a reaction. Lu Ming and Yi Ling were overjoyed. Indeed, there would only be a reaction when all 9 pieces were gathered. Previously, when they only had 8 pieces, they took them out to try, and there was no reaction at all. Clang clang. The 9 pieces were put together and finally, a sailboat-like ship appeared before Lu Ming and the others. The crossing adversity flying ship. This was the crossing adversity flying ship. It was like a sailboat and could carry hundreds of people at a time. We can finally enter the core area. Lu Ming, keep it. We'll set off now. Yi Ling said. He asked Lu Ming to keep it to show his trust in Lu Ming. The more he interacted with Lu Ming, the more he realized how terrifying Lu Ming was. He had already decided to befriend Lu Ming. As long as Lu Ming did not die, he would also gain endless benefits. He was also a person with great opportunities, but he felt that he was definitely not as good as Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded and did not stand on ceremony. He waved his hand and put away the crossing adversity flying ship. Then, the 2 of them rose into the air and headed toward the place where they set off. Forming the crossing adversity flying ship did not mean that they could drive it and set off. They had to set off from the place where they set off and absorb special energy to start it. The 2 of them came to the periphery of the place where they set off. They were not in a hurry to enter the place where they set off. Instead, they found a secret place to hide. The heavenly human tribe had suffered such a great loss. How could they let it go? In order to start the crossing adversity flying ship, they had to absorb special energy at a specific place where they set off. They did not have to look for Lu Ming and the others. They just had to wait there for Lu Ming and the others to come to them. Lu Ming estimated that there must be a large number of heavenly human tribe experts lying in ambush at the place where they set off. They would be walking right into a trap if they went in. Although the 2 of them were strong, they would not underestimate the heavenly human tribe. One had to know that the people who entered the Grand Supreme Immortal City this time included the middle-aged generation. Those who were less than a stellar year were all in their prime. There must be people who had cultivated to the 8th or even 9th level of the divine god realm. Also, how strong would the geniuses of the middle-aged generation be? They were definitely no match for such people. Chapter 43:35. Therefore, it was better to wait for a while. The two of them stayed at the periphery of the departure point. As they cultivated, they would occasionally go to the departure point to inquire about the situation. Lu Ming still had many ordinary mystic techniques that he had yet to comprehend, so he could use the time to comprehend them. Just like that, the two of them waited in the vicinity for a full year. They had no choice but to wait for a while to be on the safe side. Over the past year, the number of people at the departure point had not decreased but increased. Although some people had already set off and entered the core region, even more people were gathering from all directions. Most of these people didn't have a tribulation crossing airship. Lu Ming and Yi Ling heard from the people who came later that there seemed to be no trace of the heavenly human tribe in the place where they set off. The two of them speculated that the heavenly human tribe could not wait and had already entered the core area. At that moment, the two of them entered the departure point. Indeed, the two of them did not find any trace of the heavenly human tribe at the departure point. Let's go. The two of them headed directly to the place where the adversity crossing flying boat was absorbing energy. At the departure point, near the adversity crossing sea, there were huge pillars. These pillars were very thick and had a diameter of 1,000 meters. There were a total of more than a dozen pillars. The bottom of these pillars was connected to the depths of the earth and could absorb a special kind of energy from the depths of the earth. In order to activate the adversity crossing flying boat, one had to first place it on a stone pillar and absorb that kind of energy from the stone pillar. Someone is also setting off? When Lu Ming and Yi Ling arrived, they discovered that there was already an adversity crossing flying boat parked on one of the stone pillars. The adversity crossing flying boat and the stone pillar emitted a hazy glow. They could clearly see that there was a continuous stream of energy flowing up the stone pillar and into the adversity crossing flying boat. This was the adversity crossing flying boat absorbing energy. There were many people around this area. Damn it, it's the traitors. It's a pity that the heavenly human tribe and the elites of the top 10 tribes have already entered the core area. Otherwise, they could have caught all these traitors in one fell swoop. The heavenly human tribe and the top 10 tribes have not left yet. Would these traitors dare to come out? These traitors would only dare to come out after the heavenly human tribe and the top 10 tribes have left. Discussions could be heard all around. Lu Ming and Yi Ling flew directly towards a stone pillar. No one recognized Lu Ming and Yi Ling. Those who could recognize Lu Ming from his life origin aura were generally from the celestial race, the angel race, and a few other races. Very few people from other races had seen Lu Ming before. Lu Ming and Qin Lai landed on one of the stone pillars. It's Tianxin Yu and the others. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. On the deck of the crossing adversity airship, there were many people, about 200 of them. One of them was dazzling. If it wasn't Tianxin Yu, who else could it be? And Flying Leaf. Then, Lu Ming saw a few familiar faces. Some of them were really Fei Yi and the others. Back then, Lu Ming had saved them, but they had chased away Lu Ming. At this moment, Tianxin Yu, Fei Yi, and the others had also noticed Lu Ming and Yi Ling. They had memorized each other's life origin aura and could recognize each other at a glance. This guy is still alive. Fei Ye's eyes turned cold, and a murderous intent flashed in his heart. The entire heavenly palace was hunting Lu Ming, but Lu Ming was still alive. This surprised him. He had thought that Lu Ming had been killed by the people from the heavenly palace. So it's Yi Ling. Lu Ming must have relied on Yi Ling to escape. Yi Ling really likes to meddle in other people's business, Fei thought unhappily. However, he didn't directly call out Lu Ming's name and expose Lu Ming's identity. After all, they were both members of the Heaven Destroyer, and there were many other members of the Heaven Destroyer around. If he deliberately exposed Lu Ming's identity in public, the Heaven Destroyer would definitely not tolerate him. Therefore, the two sides only glanced at each other silently and didn't greet each other. Hey, someone has climbed up the stone pillar. Could it be that they also have a disaster crossing airship? Maybe they really do have one? Many people whispered, and many people's eyes lit up. With a disaster crossing airship, it meant that they could enter the core area. Looking at Lu Ming and Yi Ling, there were only two of them. A disaster crossing airship could carry more than 200 people. They could take it. This was why they were waiting around. At this moment, Lu Ming waved his hand, and a disaster crossing airship flew out and landed on the stone pillar. As soon as the disaster crossing airship landed on the stone pillar, it stuck to the stone pillar and resonated with it. Buzz. The stone pillar and the disaster crossing airship hummed softly, and runes appeared on them. Then, the bottom of the stone pillar lit up, and energy was being absorbed. A hazy glow surged into the disaster crossing airship, causing it to be shrouded in a layer of hazy glow. The disaster crossing airship began to absorb the special energy underground. Lu Ming and Yi Ling moved and stepped into the disaster crossing airship. Is it really the disaster crossing airship? There are only two of them. We have a chance. Many people's eyes lit up, and then they flew toward the stone pillar. Lu Ming used his mind, and a layer of light appeared on the disaster crossing airship, blocking the people outside. During this time, Lu Ming had already refined the disaster crossing airship. Now that it had energy, it could be activated at will. You two, there are only two of you, right? The disaster crossing airship can carry more than 200 people. Let us on. Give us a ride. Yes, give us a ride. We will remember your kindness. I'm from the Sky Year race. If you have any problems in the future, you can look for me. The surrounding people spoke one after another, either begging, tempting, or making promises. It was noisy. There are so many of you. We can't carry all of you. Lu Ming smiled casually. There were at least a few thousand people around, and all of them wanted to come up. How could they carry all of them? Give me a ride. Just give me a ride. I won't forget your kindness. I'll definitely repay you in the future. You can repay me, but I can't. I will repay you tenfold. I'm from the Sky Year race. Get lost. The Sky Year race is nothing. I'm from the Cloud Moon race. What did you say? How dare you insult me? You're courting death. You're the one courting death. The outside of the disaster crossing airship was noisy, and the smell of gunpowder was strong. It looked like a fight was about to break out. All right, stop arguing. If you want to board the disaster crossing airship, you have to pay a price. How about this? 20,000 desolation pills per person. As long as you take out 20,000 desolation pills, you can board the disaster crossing airship and be sent to the core region. Lu Ming said. The scene was silent, and then there was a commotion. What? 20,000 desolation pills per person? That's too expensive. Why don't you go rob someone? Yeah, it's too expensive. I can't take it out at all. Everyone shouted. Chapter 43:36. Is 20,000 Great Desolation pills expensive? You should know that the Great Desolation Chi in the core area is extremely dense. As long as you have a cauldron, you can easily refine 20,000 Great Desolation pills. It's totally worth it. Lu Ming said with a smile, looking amiable and amiable. In any case, there were only the two of them. If the crossing adversity flying boat could be empty, it was fine. If they could earn more desolate pills, why not? But I really don't have that many Great Desolation pills. The Great Desolation pills I refined aren't enough for me to refine. I'm even worse off. I don't even have a cauldron. I have to guard other people's cauldrons to earn some Great Desolation pills. They've already been used up. Me too. Many people were crying and begging, but Lu Ming didn't care. He didn't believe that there wouldn't be anyone who could pay 20,000 Great Desolation pills. I'll pay 20,000 Great Desolation pills. I want a spot. I want a spot too. As expected, someone bid. Give me the Great Desolation pills first, Lu Ming said. Then, he opened a gap in the barrier of the crossing adversity airship. A burly man stepped out. With a wave of his hand, a storage ring flew into the gap. Lu Ming took the storage ring and scanned it with his spiritual senses. He discovered that there were indeed 20,000 desolation pills inside. You can come in, Lu Ming nodded. He opened the barrier of the crossing adversity airship even wider. It was big enough for one person to pass through. The muscular man was delighted. His figure flickered as he entered the crossing adversity airship through the gap and landed on the deck. Good chance. You want my great desolation pills? Dream on. At that moment, a skinny figure suddenly rushed out of the crowd and rushed towards the gap. He was extremely fast, like a flash of lightning. His cultivation was also very high, at the 6th Great Supreme God layer. He didn't want to pay 20,000 Great Desolation pills. He wanted to enter the crossing adversity airship through the gap. Lu Ming didn't seem to have time to close the gap. In a flash, that person was about to enter the gap. Ha ha ha, as long as I enter, not only will I not have to pay the Great Desolation pills, but the crossing adversity airship will also be mine. The skinny man's eyes flashed with a savage light. Not only did he not want to pay 20,000 desolation pills, but he also wanted to kill Lu Ming and Yi Ling and take the crossing adversity airship. He was very confident in his own strength. Now, the desolation airship, the desolation pills airship, the airship is the desolation realm. In the next moment, he entered the crossing adversity airship. Whoosh! At that moment, a ray desolation pill. So desolation Asian, on. Desolation pill desolation. Is. As desolation. Would. P it. S there was. Body. Tease. Many people gasped. Many people recognized the skinny man. They knew that he was very strong. With so many experts in the desolation airship, not many were his match. They did not expect him to be killed in a second. As soon as he entered the crossing adversity airship, everyone looked at Yi Ling with fear. Yi Ling's strength was too terrifying. At the same time, they looked at Lu Ming with even more solemn eyes. Obviously, between Lu Ming and Yi Ling, Lu Ming was the leader. If Yi Ling was so terrifying, then what about Lu Ming? Some of the people who originally had bad intentions immediately dispelled those bad thoughts. 20,000 desolation pills for one spot. It's still valid. If anyone has evil thoughts, they'll end up like them. Lu Ming said coldly, I'll use 20,000 desolation pills for one spot. Me too. This time, no one dared to play any tricks. They all took out 20,000 desolation pills and gave them to Lu Ming before entering the crossing adversity airship. There were more and more people in the crossing adversity airship. Lu Ming and the others also gained more and more. Some people, even if they did not have 20,000 desolation pills, would try their best to get more from others. Soon, there were 200 people on Lu Ming's crossing adversity airship. 200 people. Lu Ming got 4 million desolation pills. After splitting them equally with Yi Ling, each of them got 2 million. This was a windfall. Although it could not help Lu Ming break through, it was still a huge fortune. Buzz. At this moment, Tianxian Yu's tribulation crossing airship emitted a buzzing sound. Shrouded in a mysterious light, it rushed into the vast tribulation crossing ocean. It was Tianxian Yu and the others. They had already set off. Lu Ming and the others were not that fast. The crossing adversity airship was very vast. The crossing adversity airship had to absorb enough energy to cross the crossing adversity airship. Therefore, it would take some time. Everyone is here. Everyone else, please go back. Lu Ming said and closed the barrier of the crossing adversity airship. Many people sighed. They could only go back and wait to see if anyone else had a crossing adversity airship. The 200 people who had boarded the crossing adversity airship were overjoyed. The earlier they entered the core area, the more opportunities they would have and the more desolation pills they would get. Time flew by. Soon, a day had passed. At this time, the crossing adversity airship finally had enough energy. Rise! Lu Ming shouted. The crossing adversity airship shook and was enveloped by a layer of mysterious light. Then, it shot into the sky, rushed into the vast crossing adversity airship, and disappeared before everyone's eyes. The crossing adversity airship was very vast. Black fog filled the air. Lu Ming and the others stood on the deck and looked into the distance. However, their vision was greatly obstructed. The black fog blocked their line of sight. No one dared to underestimate this black fog. This black fog was very terrifying. According to the records, this black fog was terrifyingly corrosive. It could corrode everything. divine power, secret techniques, and even all kinds of weapons. Once a living being stepped into the crossing adversity airship, they would be corroded by this black fog. Although they would not be corroded by the black fog and die immediately, ordinary emperor gods would be able to withstand it for a while. However, the crossing adversity airship was too vast. No one could last that long and cross the entire crossing adversity airship. Under the continuous corrosion of the black fog, they would eventually run out of energy and die, unless it was a divine master expert. However, divine master realm powerhouses couldn't enter this level. In addition, there was an even more terrifying existence in the crossing adversity airship. It was called the crossing adversity ghost. The crossing adversity ghost was even more terrifying. Once one encountered it, only death would await. Chapter 43:37. Without the crossing adversity airship, no emperor god would be able to cross the adversity-avoiding ocean. The crossing adversity airship flew at an extremely fast speed towards the other side of the adversity-avoiding ocean. With the crossing adversity airship's speed, it would take about 7 days to cross the entire adversity-avoiding ocean and enter the core region. Time flew by quickly. 2 days had passed in the blink of an eye. They had already traveled an unknown distance. Whoosh whoosh. The black fog in front of them suddenly began to churn. Then, a huge monster appeared in front of them. It was a black creature. Its body was like a worm, but there were many arms around its body. It kept grabbing at the air as if it wanted to crush something. The most terrifying thing was the creature's head. There was a human face there. Its facial features were distorted, and it looked ferocious like an evil spirit. "This is the crossing adversity ghost," someone exclaimed in surprise and sucked in a breath of cold air. That's right. This was the most terrifying existence in the adversity-avoiding ocean, the crossing adversity ghost. The black fog in the adversity-avoiding ocean wasn't the most terrifying. Most people could withstand it for a while. However, if they encountered the crossing adversity ghost, they would die. Even a peak emperor god wouldn't stand a chance against the crossing adversity ghost. The crossing adversity ghost was huge, and it was about 100 meters long. It flew towards the crossing adversity airship. Everyone's hearts couldn't help but rise to their throats. Even though they had the crossing adversity airship, they were still nervous. The crossing adversity ghost flew nearby and circled around the crossing adversity airship. Its pair of cold eyes kept scanning the crowd. Some people felt goosebumps all over their bodies when they were swept by this cold gaze. The crossing adversity airship glowed and continued to fly forward. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The crossing adversity ghost let out an ear-piercing squeak and charged towards the crowd. Some people who weren't mentally strong couldn't help but circulate their divine power and get ready for battle. Lu Ming and Yi Ling stood quietly at the bow of the airship. Their faces were calm and their eyes were motionless. When the crossing adversity airship got close and came into contact with the light emitted by the crossing adversity airship, it let out a sizzling sound. It was like ice melting when it came into contact with fire. Black smoke came out of the crossing adversity ghost's body. The crossing disaster ghost shrieked as a look of fear appeared in its eyes, and it quickly retreated. Everyone saw that the crossing disaster ghost's body seemed to have shrunk due to the influence of the crossing disaster airship's light. Whoosh! Many people breathed a sigh of relief. As expected, they were safe inside the crossing adversity airship. Not only could the crossing adversity airship block the black fog outside, it could also block the crossing adversity ghost. The crossing disaster ghost let out an ear-piercing shriek. It circled the crossing disaster airship a few times before flying off into the distance. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared into the black fog. Everyone was finally able to put down a huge rock in their hearts. The Calamity Crossing airship continued to fly forward. In the following period of time, they encountered the Calamity Crossing ghosts a few more times. But in the end, they were all scared off by the Adversity Crossing flying boat. Very quickly, 4 days passed. They had already covered more than half of the journey. In another 3 days, they would be able to completely cross the adversity-avoiding sea and enter the core region. Yeah, what's that? Suddenly, someone exclaimed and pointed to the left. Everyone's gaze also turned in that direction. On the left, There was a ray of light that could be seen even through the black fog. Moreover, it was also moving and seemed to be synchronized with Lu Ming's crossing disaster airship. As Lu Ming's crossing disaster airship flew forward, the ball of light also moved forward. It was always on the left side of Lu Ming's group. "Look, there's one on the right too," someone shouted. Indeed, everyone saw a ball of light on the right too. It was also moving with Lu Ming's group at about the same speed. Lu Ming frowned. He had a bad premonition in his heart. "Lu Ming, can you see it clearly too? I have a bad feeling." Yi Ling sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. He had a similar feeling as well. Geniuses were usually extremely sensitive to danger. "The fog is too thick. I can't see it clearly either." Lu Ming shook his head with a grave expression. Suddenly, his eyes widened and he looked ahead. At this moment, there was also a ball of light in front of them. "Stop." With a thought from Lu Ming, the speed of the crossing disaster airship rapidly slowed down and finally came to a stop. The moment they stopped, the two balls of light on the left and right also stopped. There was a commotion in the crossing disaster airship. Many people felt a little uneasy and the atmosphere became a little tense. The ball of light in front became clearer and clearer. Gradually, everyone could see what it was. It was a crossing disaster airship. That's right. It was also a crossing disaster airship that was flying in front of them. Could it be that it was returning from the core area? The crossing disaster airship in front became clearer and clearer until it completely appeared in front of them. It's the heavenly human tribe. Lu Ming and Yi Ling's eyes suddenly narrowed. They could clearly see that there were some people standing on the deck of the crossing disaster airship in front. Those people were all from the heavenly human tribe. It's the heavenly human tribe. I thought it was something else. I'm so scared. Seeing that it was the heavenly human tribe, the people on the crossing disaster airship heaved a sigh of relief. The heavenly human tribe would not attack them for no reason. "Look, there are also crossing disaster airships on the left and right," someone shouted. At that moment, the two balls of light on the left and right became clearer and clearer. Then, two more crossing disaster airships appeared. Unsurprisingly, there were also people from the heavenly human tribe on these two crossing disaster airships. The heavenly human tribe is actually waiting for us here. Yi Ling's face was extremely solemn. This is a little troublesome. There are probably some people who have already entered the core area, Lu Ming muttered. A group of top experts from the heavenly human tribe had already entered the core area to seize the opportunities. There were definitely cultivators of the 8th or 9th great supreme god layer in there. Among the younger generation, there might not be such a high cultivation level, but among the middle-aged generation, there definitely were. So it's the heavenly human tribe. May I know what you are doing here? On Lu Ming's crossing disaster airship, a young man cupped his fists and said respectfully, "We are waiting for you here." A burly man from the heavenly human tribe said coldly. He looked at Lu Ming and Yi Ling. His eyes filled with murderous intent. Lu Ming knew this burly man. He was one of the experts who had tried to kill Lu Ming and Yi Ling. When Tian Xinyu arrived, they managed to kill him and he fled. Waiting for us? Many people were a little confused. To be precise, we are waiting for the two of them. The burly man from the heavenly human tribe pointed at Lu Ming and Yi Ling. On the deck, 200 pairs of eyes looked at Lu Ming and Yi Ling, full of doubts. Perhaps you still don't know who they are? The two of them are traitors. The burly man from the heavenly human tribe said. Chapter 43:38. What? They are traitors? The 200 people on the deck were shocked when they heard what the heavenly human tribe man had said. They moved away from Lu Ming and Yi Ling and looked at them coldly. They are not only traitors. Do you know who he is? He is Mu Yun. If you kill him, you can become the son of heaven or the daughter of heaven. The heavenly human tribe man added. After saying those words, the heavenly human clan's robust man stopped speaking and stopped. He knew that he didn't need to say anything because he knew what was going to happen next. As expected, when the 200 people on Lu Ming's crossing adversity airship heard that Lu Ming was Mu Yun, they started breathing heavily. Their eyes were filled with greed and killing intent. Mu Yun. They would never have thought that the young man with them was Mu Yun, the person that the heavenly palace wanted to kill. As long as he could kill him, he could become the son of heaven or daughter of heaven of the celestial palace. He could become a dragon with a single leap and achieve a meteoric rise, changing his future fate. However, when their gazes fell on Yiling, fear appeared in their eyes. Yiling had fought before, and his strength was astonishing. Let's attack together. No matter how strong he is, it will be useless. That's right. Let's attack together. In the chaos, whoever kills Mu Yun will get the credit. Yes, kill. Many people shouted. In the end, they couldn't resist the temptation of becoming the son of heaven or the daughter of heaven. Their minds were filled with greed. They recklessly attacked Lu Ming and Yiling. 200 people. At least 100 of them charged toward Lu Ming. You're courting death. Lu Ming and Yiling's eyes glittered coldly. Swoosh, swoosh. Lu Ming condensed a long spear with the taboo power in his hands. He cast the heaven-breaking style and activated his combat power to the maximum. Rays of spear light burst forth and charged towards these people. At the same time, Yiling also attacked. Dazzling sword lights filled the sky. Although there were many experts among the 100 people who had attacked him, and many of them were at the 6th layer of the Emperor God realm, none of them could threaten Lu Ming. Although there were only 2 of them, Lu Ming and Yiling's attacks were even more ferocious and powerful than those of over 100 people. When the attacks of both sides collided, the attacks of over 100 people were defeated. Awe, pitiful cries rang out one after another as people were pierced by the spear light or the sword light, dying on the spot. Kill. Lu Ming and Yiling shouted coldly and rushed out. All kinds of attacks poured out like a storm. Ah no. Spare me. Misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. The remaining people shouted crazily. They were scared out of their wits. Yiling's combat power had completely exceeded their expectations. It was even more terrifying than they had imagined. However, the most terrifying one was still Lu Ming. Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 5th Great Supreme God layer, but his combat power was not weaker than Yiling's. Even though there were more than 100 people attacking, they could not withstand a single blow. Lu Ming and Yiling did not show any mercy. They kept attacking with all kinds of killing moves. One by one, they were killed. In an instant, there were more than 100 corpses on the deck. Blood dyed the crossing adversity airship red. There were still 80 or 90 people left. Those who had not attacked before were dumbfounded. They were completely terrified. Their bodies were trembling and their lips were trembling. Their eyes were wide open and they were filled with fear. Spare. Spare me. These people begged for mercy. Get out of the crossing adversity airship. Lu Ming said coldly. Let's go to the heavenly human tribe's crossing adversity airship. Let's go. The remaining 80 or 90 people rushed out crazily towards the 3 heavenly human tribes crossing adversity airships. The 3 heavenly human tribes crossing adversity airships were not full. There were less than 100 people on each of the airships. In an instant, Lu Ming's crossing adversity airship was empty except for Lu Ming and Yiling. These people flew towards the 3 heavenly human tribes crossing adversity airships. The black fog rushed towards these people. These people activated their divine power and set up layers of defense around their bodies to resist the corrosion of the black fog. Although the black fog was terrifying, they could still resist it for a while with their cultivation. They quickly approached the 3 heavenly human tribes crossing adversity airships. Lords of the heavenly human tribe, please let us board the airships. Please let us board the airships. We can't resist for long. These people begged. Humph, a bunch of trash. You want to board the airship? You can fend for yourselves outside. A strong man from the heavenly human tribe shouted coldly. As soon as he said that, the expressions of these people changed drastically. Was the heavenly human tribe not letting them board the airships? If they were not allowed to board the airships, they would die. Lords, please do me a favor and let me board the airships. I will not forget your great kindness. Please, let me board the airships. I'm willing to be your slave in the future. Many people shouted. However, the heavenly human tribes crossing adversity airships were indifferent and unmoved. Many people looked desperate. Let me board. Let me board. Finally, some people went crazy and rushed towards the heavenly human tribes crossing adversity airship. They wanted to use brute force to board the airships. Courting death. Someone from the heavenly human tribe shouted coldly and attacked. The person who attacked was extremely powerful. These people could not resist at all. In an instant, dozens of people were killed. Then, their corpses were corroded by the black fog and turned into nothingness. The remaining people were desperate and rushed towards Lu Ming's crossing adversity airship. Let's go. At this moment, Lu Ming shouted and controlled the crossing adversity airship to fly to the back in an attempt to escape. This time, the heavenly human tribe came prepared and definitely sent out a terrifying expert. It was very dangerous for them to fight head-on. However, the heavenly human tribe was already prepared. When Lu Ming and the others retreated, the 3 crossing adversity airships of the heavenly human tribe also moved and chased after Lu Ming and the others. The remaining people were left behind, and they let out cries of despair. However, no one cared about them. Lu Ming controlled the crossing adversity airship with all his strength, but the heavenly human tribe's crossing adversity airship chased after them relentlessly. Moreover, the distance between the two parties was slowly closing. Lu Ming, you can't escape. Be obedient and accept your death. A cold voice came from one of the crossing adversity airships. However, Lu Ming and Yi Ling did not say a word and only cared about escaping. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, 2 figures rushed out from each of the 3 crossing adversity airships. They were 6 burly men from the heavenly human tribe. They were very fast, even faster than the crossing adversity airship. They quickly approached Lu Ming and the others. They are 9th layer divine gods. Yi Ling exclaimed and his face changed drastically. Lu Ming's face also changed drastically. The other party had indeed sent out terrifying experts. 6 9th layer divine gods. Chapter 43-39. 9th layer Emperor God Realm cultivators were much stronger than them. Most importantly, they were not ordinary 9th layer Emperor God Realm cultivators. Any one of them from the heavenly human tribe had at least 2 stars of fighting strength. These 6 strong men had reached the 9th layer Emperor God Realm at such a young age. How could they only have 2 stars of fighting strength? This was a combat strength that they could not resist. Do you think you can survive by hiding in the crossing adversity airship? How naive. Break. Break. The 6 experts from the heavenly human tribe shouted and attacked at the same time. Some of them held spears, some held swords. 6 attacks were launched at Lu Ming and the others at the same time. All of them have mastered the strongest heavenly force. Lu Ming and Yi Ling's faces turned solemn. These 6 strong men were obviously the geniuses of the heavenly human tribe. They had mastered one of the 4 strongest heavenly forces of the heavenly human tribe. Some of them had mastered the heavenly punishment force, while others had mastered the heavenly punishment force. Although their mastery of the heavenly human tribe was not very high, it was enough to make their fighting strength terrifying. Lu Ming and Yi Ling were well aware that the 2 of them were definitely not a match for any one of them. They would be killed in seconds. Boom, boom, boom. The attacks from the 6 of them hit the barrier of the crossing adversity airship, causing it to shake violently. The barrier of the crossing adversity airship was distorted as if it was going to collapse at any time. Oh no, we can't block them. Lu Ming and Yi Ling's hearts sank. The main function of the crossing adversity airship was to block the black fog outside and to deter the crossing adversity ghosts. Although it had defensive strength, it was not strong. Its defensive power was limited against the attacks of other living beings. Ordinary experts could naturally defend against it. However, the 6 experts from the heavenly human tribe were too strong. The crossing adversity airship's defense could not block them at all. However, Lu Ming did not give up. He continued to control the crossing adversity airship and flew rapidly in a direction. Lu Ming flew in that direction because he remembered that there was a crossing adversity ghost in that direction. As long as they encountered the disaster-avoiding ghost, the 6 robust celestial race men would definitely not dare to continue attacking and would be scared off. However, the attacks of the 6 top powers from the heavenly human tribe rained down like a torrential storm. The crossing adversity airship shook even more violently and cracks appeared on the surrounding barrier. He was about to be unable to hold on any longer. Lu Ming and Yi Ling's bodies were tense. They were ready to fight at any moment. Creak, creak, creak. An ear-piercing sound came from the front, causing Lu Ming and Yi Ling's eyes to light up. However, the 6 heavenly human tribe elites' expressions changed drastically. The ghost of disaster averting. This voice was emitted by the crossing disaster ghost. In the past, Lu Ming hated this kind of sound, but now, he was incomparably happy. Lu Ming looked behind him and saw a huge avoiding disaster ghost wandering around. When it saw Lu Ming and the others, it flew towards them. Hurry up and destroy their crossing adversity airship. A brawny heavenly human tribe man roared as he pushed his battle prowess to the extreme. The 6 brawny heavenly human tribe men unleashed their strongest attack at the same time. They even burned a portion of their heavenly force. Boom, boom, boom. This time, the 6 attacks were even more terrifying. They bombarded the barrier of the crossing adversity airship at the same time. Most importantly, the 6 attacks were still bombarding the same spot. The pressure caused was too strong. Crack. This time, the barrier of the crossing adversity airship could no longer withstand the attacks and collapsed directly. Oh no! Lu Ming and Yi Ling were shocked. Lu Ming used all his strength to control the crossing adversity airship that had no barrier and continued to fly towards the crossing disaster ghost. Die. Kill. The 6 heavenly human tribe elites naturally knew that this was a critical moment. If Lu Ming and Yi Ling were to get close to the crossing disaster ghost and the crossing adversity airship, the situation would change. Therefore, the 6 heavenly human tribe elites attacked with all their might. 6 terrifying attacks were directed at Lu Ming and Yi Ling, trying to kill the 2 of them in one fell swoop. In the face of such terrifying attacks, Lu Ming and Yi Ling found it difficult to block them. At the critical moment, Lu Ming controlled the crossing adversity airship to tilt over and protect the 2 of them. Dang, dang, dang. The 6 attacks all bombarded the crossing adversity airship. The crossing adversity airship shook violently. Cracks appeared on the surface of the crossing adversity airship. The crossing adversity airship was originally made up of 9 different parts. These cracks were the gaps between the 9 parts. At this moment, after being attacked violently, the parts where the parts were glued together began to crack and were about to separate. Finally, with a bang, a few parts could no longer be glued together and were sent flying by the powerful force. Lu Ming and Yi Ling hurriedly attacked, trying to grab hold of these parts. However, the 6 heavenly human tribe elites also attacked. Although Lu Ming and Yi Ling were closer to these parts, one of the parts still fell into the hands of the heavenly human tribe. At this moment, they were very close to the crossing disaster ghost. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The crossing disaster ghost shrieked and let out an ear-piercing sound. It emitted a terrifying aura that made Lu Ming, Yi Ling, and the 6 heavenly human tribe elites shiver, especially the 6 heavenly human tribe elites. They did not have any treasures that could intimidate the crossing disaster ghost. On the other hand, Lu Ming and the other half of the broken crossing adversity airship were still shining brightly. The crossing disaster ghost looked at the 6 heavenly human tribe elites with a ferocious gaze. Its huge body pounced on them directly. Oh no! Quickly retreat to the crossing adversity airship. Their crossing adversity airship is no longer complete. One of the parts has fallen into our hands. Their crossing adversity airship will soon disintegrate. When that time comes, only death will await us. The 6 heavenly human tribe elites quickly exchanged a few words. Then, they quickly retreated and rushed back to their crossing adversity airship. As for their crossing adversity airship, they quickly rushed over. Before the crossing disaster ghost pounced on them, the 6 heavenly human tribe elites had already returned to the crossing adversity airship. Anyway, one of the parts of Lu Ming's crossing adversity airship had already fallen into their hands. Soon, their crossing adversity airship would disintegrate. The crossing disaster ghost approached the crossing adversity airship of the heavenly human tribe. It was afraid of the light emitted by the crossing adversity airship. After circling it a few times, it screeched a few times. Then, it turned around and rushed toward Lu Ming and the others. At this moment, Lu Ming's crossing adversity airship was indeed disintegrating. Piece by piece, the parts flew out and were caught by Lu Ming and Yi Ling. As for the calamity-avoiding ghost, it quickly flew toward Lu Ming and the rest. The two of them looked extremely grim. The crossing disaster ghost was extremely terrifying. If they were caught by it, only death would await them. Although the two of them tried their best to fly, the crossing disaster ghost was faster and was rapidly approaching them. Let's see how they'll die. On the 3 crossing adversity airships, the heavenly human tribe members sneered. Now, they were no longer in a hurry. They controlled the crossing adversity airship unhurriedly and followed from a distance. They wanted to enjoy the fear on Lu Ming and Yiling's faces. Chapter 4340. The avoiding disaster ghost quickly approached Lu Ming and Yiling. Its cold and terrifying aura gave them goosebumps. Their muscles tensed up involuntarily. This was a natural reaction when encountering a terrifying danger. Use the parts of the crossing disaster airship before it completely fades away, Lu Ming shouted softly. He grabbed a part of the crossing disaster airship and threw it at the avoiding disaster ghost. The crossing disaster airship had just disintegrated. The parts of the crossing disaster airship were still emitting a mysterious light and had not completely dissipated. They should still have a restraining effect on the avoiding disaster ghost. If the mysterious light on these parts completely dissipated, they would no longer have any restraining effect on the avoiding disaster ghost. Then they would be in real danger. Swoosh! A part of the crossing disaster airship flew toward the avoiding disaster ghost. Sure enough, the avoiding disaster ghost showed a look of fear. It did not dare to charge straight at them. Instead, it flew horizontally, changed directions, and charged at them again. Lu Ming and Yiling grabbed the remaining parts and threw them all out. They filled a large area and completely blocked the avoiding disaster ghost's path. Then the two of them took the opportunity to speed up to the maximum and charged into the distance. Lu Ming used the greater extreme light skill, and his speed was astonishing. However, Yiling's speed was not slow either. He flew through the air like a beam of sword light. The two of them flashed a few times and disappeared into the thick black fog. Damn it, Chase. If he's alive, I want to see him. If he's dead, I want to see his corpse. On the 3-headed crossing disaster airship, a member of the heavenly human tribe shouted angrily. He controlled the crossing disaster airship and charged in the direction that Lu Ming and Yiling had escaped. The avoiding disaster ghost sensed the light on the crossing disaster airship and showed a look of fear. It did not dare to stop them and hurriedly moved aside. The heavenly human tribe's crossing disaster airship rushed past and collected all the parts of Lu Ming's crossing disaster airship. They rushed in the direction that Lu Ming and Yiling had escaped at the fastest speed. Unfortunately, after chasing for some time, they could not find any trace of Lu Ming and Yiling. Damn it, let's split up and chase. They can't have gone far. A burly heavenly human tribe man shouted angrily. The 3 crossing adversity airships spread out and searched along the way. However, after a few hours, there was still no sign of Lu Ming and his companion. The 3 tribulation crossing airships gathered at the same place. The heavenly human tribe cultivators on the airships all had dark expressions on their faces. They don't have the crossing adversity ferry boat, so they're dead for sure. It's a pity that we can't bring Lu Ming's body back. A muscular man from the heavenly human race sighed. Without the protection of the Calamity Crossing airship, one would definitely die in the Calamity Crossing sea. They did not doubt this. However, they lacked Lu Ming's corpse, so they couldn't bring it back to claim credit. If they did, their contributions would be greatly reduced. That was why many Celestial Clan members sighed. No matter what, Lu Ming died because he was hunted down by us. This is also meritorious service. If we split the credit equally, we can also obtain a lot of benefits. Another heavenly human said. Only then did everyone feel a little better. Let's go back. Then, the 3 adversity crossing airships left and headed towards the core area. Sometime after the 3 adversity crossing airships left, 2 figures appeared in a pile of rocks in a certain area. They were Lu Ming and Yiling. The power that the two of them controlled was not to be underestimated. Although the surrounding black mist was corrosive, the two of them had no problem holding out for about a day. However, the two of them did not look good. Even if the two of them could hold out for a day, it was simply not enough. They were still very far away from the core area. Even if the two of them flew at full speed, they would need at least 2 days to reach the core area. There was simply not enough time. As for retreating, it was simply impossible. They would have to retreat even further. This was under the condition that they had not encountered the Calamity Crossing Ghost. If they encountered the Calamity Crossing Ghost, it would be even more dangerous. However, the two of them had no way out. Now, they had to bite the bullet and fly towards the core area. They could only take one step at a time. "Let's go," Lu Ming said. The two of them nodded and flew towards the core area together. Of course, they could also avoid the direction that the heavenly human race was heading in and go in another direction. Chi-Chi, the black mist between heaven and earth, seemed to have a mind of its own as it constantly surged towards Lu Ming, and Yi Ling. Lu Ming used the forbidden power to lay down layers of defense around his body. When the black mist came into contact with the forbidden power, it made a sizzling sound. Even though the taboo power was able to keep the black fog at bay, it was being consumed at an alarming rate. The power that Yi Ling controlled was not as strong as the forbidden power. However, his cultivation was one level higher than Lu Ming's, and the difficulty of blocking it was about the same as Lu Ming's. After a few hours, the two of them felt that a large portion of the power in their bodies had been consumed. They had been hiding for a few hours and flying for a few more hours. They felt that they could hold out for another 20 hours, or so at most. After 20 hours, their power would be exhausted and they would be corroded by the black mist. Chi-chi-chi. Suddenly, a piercing sound came from the right side of Lu Ming and Yi Ling. When they heard this sound, the two of them had a drastic change in expression and became very ugly. The Calamity Crossing Ghost. This was the voice of the Calamity Crossing Ghost. What one did not want to see had happened. Whoosh whoosh. To their right, the black mist churned, and a colossal being appeared. It was the Calamity Crossing Ghost. The Calamity Crossing Ghost looked at Lu Ming and Yi Ling with a ferocious gaze. It let out a piercing shriek and pounced on Lu Ming and Yi Ling. "Let's go." The two of them immediately flew to the left. This was because the distance between them was the furthest in this direction. If they flew in other directions, the distance would be closer. Behind them, the Calamity Crossing Ghost chased after Lu Ming and Yi Ling. Its speed was faster than Lu Ming and Yi Ling. The distance between them was constantly closing. "We're in trouble." Their hearts began to sink. A few minutes later, the distance between them was even closer. At this rate, they would be caught in a few minutes. "Damn it, let's see if it works." At this time, Yi Ling took out a disc array and activated it. He wanted to see if it could deal with the Calamity Crossing Ghost. This aura, it seems to be a treasure from the previous era. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. In the Grand Supreme Immortal City, the divine weapons and treasures from the primitive universe could not be used. However, the disc array in Yi Ling's hand did not seem to be a treasure from the primitive universe. "I obtained this disc array from a certain ruin in the universe. It should be an item from the previous era and is not restricted by the restrictions here," Yi Ling explained. The disc array shone and the light shone on the Calamity Crossing Ghost. The Calamity Crossing Ghost's eyes began to flicker a few times. Then, it continued to charge over and knocked the disc array away. It was useless. It was completely useless. Yi Ling's face turned even uglier. He originally wanted to try an item from the previous era to see if it could restrain the Calamity Crossing Ghost. In the end, it was useless. Chapter 43-41. The distance between the avoiding disaster ghost and Lu Ming was getting closer and closer. The terrifying and cold aura made the two of them tense up. They felt a chill in their hearts, as if an extremely cold blade was cutting into their skin. The sense of danger was getting stronger and stronger. "Let's try using the purple copper coffin," Lu Ming thought to himself. In the Grand Supreme Immortal City, the treasures of the primitive universe could not be used. However, the purple copper coffin was different from other divine weapons. Lu Ming took out the purple copper coffin not to activate the power of the purple copper coffin itself, but to open it and let the primitive divine spirit inside deal with the avoiding disaster ghost. However, there was a crucial point, and that was that the primitive divine spirit in the purple copper coffin had a cultivation realm far above that of an emperor god. It was likely to be a master god-level primitive divine spirit. Would it be suppressed by the laws of the supreme immortal city? After all, beings above the emperor god level could not enter the second level of the grand supreme immortal city. Therefore, Lu Ming did not take out the purple copper coffin because he was not sure if it would work. If it did not, it would be a waste of time. However, at this time, Lu Ming had no choice but to take it out and give it a try. There's a forest in front. Let's go in and take a look, Yiling said at this time. Lu Ming saw it too. There was a forest in front of them. The forest was so vast that they could not see the end of it. In the forest, there were all kinds of pitch-black trees. These trees were extremely huge. Each of them was more than 10,000 meters tall. Whether it was the branches or the leaves, they were all pitch-black. The branches were twisted into strange shapes and looked extremely strange. Moreover, the two of them vaguely felt a dangerous aura from the forest. However, no matter how dangerous it was, could it be more dangerous than the avoiding disaster ghost? Perhaps the danger in the forest could help them escape? Lu Ming temporarily suppressed the idea of taking out the purple copper coffin. He and Yiling flew toward the forest at full speed and plunged into the forest. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The avoiding disaster ghost screeched and stopped. It looked hesitant, but did not rush into the forest in the end. The danger of the avoiding disaster ghost was resolved. However, Lu Ming and Yiling were still worried. To be able to make the calamity-avoiding ghost stop in its tracks, and even cause it to be afraid of it, this forest was definitely not to be underestimated. Could there be something even more terrifying than the calamity-avoiding ghost? Hiss! As if in response to Lu Ming and Yiling's worries, a faint sound came from the forest. The two of them focused their attention and looked towards the source of the sound. Then, a huge monster appeared in front of Lu Ming and the others. It was a giant snake. The giant snake was pitch black and incomparably huge. However, on the body of the giant snake, there were snake tails that looked like tentacles. It looked ferocious and terrifying. The most terrifying thing was the face of the giant snake. It was also a human face, but it was filled with a twisted horror. Just looking at it would make one's hair stand on end and a chill run down their spine. Disaster-avoiding ghost. Another disaster-avoiding ghost. There was actually a disaster-avoiding ghost in this forest, and it was different from the species that Lu Ming and the others had encountered before. The aura of this disaster-avoiding ghost seemed to be even more terrifying than the one outside. It was no wonder that the one outside did not dare to charge in. Let's go. The two of them did not hesitate and rushed towards the other side of the forest. Hiss! This snake-like disaster-avoiding ghost let out a snake-like cry. Its body twisted and rushed towards Lu Ming and Yiling at an extremely fast speed. Lu Ming and Yiling used their movement skills and went around the huge trees, rushing towards the other side of the forest. They wanted to rush out from the other side of the forest to avoid the two disaster-avoiding ghosts outside and inside the forest. However, they did not run far before their faces turned even uglier. That was because a faint sound came from a pitch-black tree beside them. Then, a snake-like disaster-avoiding ghost circled around the tree and slithered downwards. The eyes of the forest were fixed on Lu Ming and Yiling. Another one. The two of them were shocked. There were actually two snake-like disaster-avoiding ghosts in this forest. Without any hesitation, the two of them changed directions and rushed forward. However, after running a few steps, the two of them stopped. Their faces were pale. That was because another disaster-avoiding ghost had appeared in front of them. Hiss! It was not just in front of them, but also on their left and right. Then, snake-like disaster-avoiding ghosts slithered over. Lu Ming and the others were surrounded. Lu Ming swept his gaze over and saw at least 8 disaster-avoiding ghosts. There were disaster-avoiding ghosts in all directions, surrounding them tightly. We're done for. Yiling smiled bitterly. Even though he was a peerless demon who had experienced all kinds of situations and various life and death situations, he could not help but show a trace of despair at this moment. One disaster-avoiding ghost was not something they could fight against. If they were caught, they would definitely die. And now, there were a total of 8 disaster-avoiding ghosts surrounding them. They had no chance at all. Even if the Master God was here, he would probably die, let alone them. We've barged into the lair of a disaster-avoiding ghost. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. At the same time, the purple copper coffin appeared in his hand. At this moment, he could only use the purple copper coffin to try his luck. Yiling's gaze fell on the purple copper coffin, and he was looking forward to it. The taboo body had great luck. It should not die just like that, right? Now, he could only rely on Lu Ming. Crack. Lu Ming did not hesitate. He pushed the lid of the purple copper coffin and a crack appeared on the purple copper coffin. A terrifying aura filled the air. Crack. Lu Ming continued to push and the crack on the purple copper coffin became bigger. Hiss. At this moment, the 8 disaster-avoiding ghosts pounced on Lu Ming. Roar. A roar came from the purple copper coffin and it shook the entire forest. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He could tell that this was the roar of the primordial divine spirit. This roar seemed to have shocked the disaster-avoiding ghosts. They could not help but stop and look at the purple copper coffin. Roar. Roars came from the purple copper coffin continuously. Then, 2 arms covered in scales reached out from the crack. Following that, a head popped out as well. It was the primordial divine spirit that had appeared before. It was a Lord God-level primordial divine spirit. The primordial divine spirit's arms pushed against the sides of the purple copper coffin. He pushed with all his might and wanted to rush out of the purple copper coffin. But at this moment, something strange happened. In the void, a ray of light suddenly spread out. A circle of light appeared and pressed down on the primordial divine spirit. This light gave off a feeling of supremacy and eternity, as if it could suppress everything. It was as if all living beings and all things had to bow before this ray of light. Chapter 43-42. The light pressed down on the primordial divine spirit. Roar. The primordial divine spirit roared and struggled with all its might, as if it wanted to break through the suppression of the light and rush out of the purple copper coffin. However, the light was too strong. No matter how hard the primordial divine spirit tried, it did not budge. Instead, it continued to press down. The primordial divine spirit seemed to be unable to withstand it and was slowly pushed back into the purple copper coffin. At first, it was its head, then its arms. Slowly, it returned to the purple copper coffin and disappeared. This, Lu Ming and Yiling were dumbfounded. In particular, Lu Ming's heart was in turmoil. He was extremely shocked. He knew how powerful the primordial divine spirit was. It was an over-God-level primordial divine spirit, which was equivalent to the origin realm. It had once fought a fierce battle with the heavenly lord of the heavenly palace. Such a powerful existence had been pushed back into the purple copper coffin by a ray of light. It could not even come out. This ray of light was too terrifying. Was this the profundity of the Taishang Immortal City? The second level of the Taishang Immortal City did not allow beings above the Emperor God level to enter. Indeed, the primordial divine spirit could not come out of the purple copper coffin. Hiss. After the evil spirits saw the primordial divine spirit disappear, they screamed again. Their eyes were cold as they pounced on Lu Ming and Yiling. This is troublesome. A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Even the purple copper coffin had lost its effect. He had no other means to deal with the current situation. If he were to face these evil spirits with his own strength, he would definitely die. Yiling, let's fight. Lu Ming said. All right, let's fight. Yiling nodded. They were not people who would admit defeat easily. Even if they knew they were no match for them, they would still fight. Falling in a great battle was the final destination of a cultivator, not dying in a cowardly manner. However, at this moment, there was a change in the situation. At this moment, the primordial divine spirit's aura in the purple copper coffin suddenly disappeared without a trace. Immediately, another aura appeared. It was a new aura, one that Lu Ming had never felt before. What surprised Lu Ming and Yiling was that this aura was similar to the light that had suppressed the primordial god spirit. They were both supreme, eternal, and unfathomable. As soon as this aura rushed out, it spread in all directions. Being struck by this aura, the bodies of the 8 disaster-avoiding ghosts abruptly stiffened. Furthermore, Their bodies began to tremble and their eyes were filled with fear. After shrieking a few times, the 8 tribulation-avoiding ghosts turned around and fled, vanishing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming and Yi Ling were dumbfounded, especially Yi Ling. His mouth was wide open enough to fit a goose egg. Lu Ming, what else is in your bronze coffin other than a primordial divine spirit? Yi Ling could not help but ask. The fact that there was a terrifying primordial god in the purple copper coffin had already shocked Yi Ling. However, there seemed to be something else inside that was even more mysterious and terrifying. It was hard to guess what it was. Just an aura was enough to make the 8 crossing disaster ghosts disappear without a trace. I don't know either, Lu Ming said as he shook his head. He really did not know. Although he had obtained the purple copper coffin for a long time, he had always been unable to understand its mysteries. He always felt that the more he understood, the more mysterious it became. In the past, he had always thought that the purple copper coffin was the burial place of a primordial god spirit after it had fallen. However, the primordial god spirit that had appeared later was clearly not dead and was still alive. Moreover, there was a silk thread connected to the back of the primordial god spirit's head. It gave off a feeling that it was being controlled. Later on, the purple copper coffin had sucked Lu Ming's past body into it. There was still no news of it. Lu Ming could only sense that the past body was not dead and was still alive. Now, a new aura was emitted from the purple copper coffin. It was an aura that was somewhat similar to the one that had suppressed the primordial god spirit. There were more and more secrets about the purple copper coffin, and it was becoming more and more difficult to guess. That aura is very similar to that ray of light. That ray of light was formed by the ultimacy of the Grand Supreme Immortal City. The Grand Supreme Immortal City was left behind from the last era. Could your purple copper coffin also be a treasure from the last era? Yi Ling said. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. His words had awakened him from his dream. Yi Ling was right. Was the purple copper coffin really a treasure left behind from the last era? Was there an elite from the last era buried in it? However, what was the deal with the primordial god spirit? Why did it suck the past body into it? Lu Ming had more doubts in his heart. Let's not talk about it. Let's get out of here first, Lu Ming said, suppressing the doubts in his heart. It was not wise to stay in this place for long. Let's go. Yi Ling also nodded. This forest was obviously the nest of the disaster-avoiding ghost. The two of them rushed out of the forest. Soon, the two of them rushed out of the forest. However, as soon as the two of them rushed out of the forest, they heard a piercing scream. The disaster-avoiding ghost that had chased after them earlier appeared again and pounced on the two of them. This disaster-avoiding ghost had not left and had been wandering around the forest. As soon as Lu Ming and Yi Ling rushed out of the forest, they were sensed. However, Lu Ming had been holding the purple copper coffin in his hand, and the lid of the coffin was not closed. Lu Ming stared at the disaster-avoiding ghost and did not run away. This time, would the mysterious and unfathomable aura from the purple copper coffin appear again? The result did not disappoint Lu Ming. When the disaster-avoiding ghost approached Lu Ming and Yi Ling, the aura from the purple copper coffin spread out again. After being hit by the aura, the disaster-avoiding ghost revealed a look of horror. Then, it turned and ran, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming and Yi Ling looked at each other and then burst out laughing at the same time. Awesome! This is awesome! This copper coffin can actually scare the disaster-avoiding ghost away. In this disaster-avoiding sea, we don't have to be afraid of the disaster-avoiding ghost anymore. Yi Ling laughed heartily. He was extremely happy. Let's hurry up and set off, Lu Ming said. Although the purple copper coffin could scare the disaster-avoiding ghost away, their crisis was not over yet. They were still in the disaster-avoiding sea. The black fog was still corroding them. As long as they were in the disaster-avoiding sea, they would be in danger. The two of them did not say much. They used their movement techniques and flew in the direction of the core area. They had to get to the core area as soon as possible. They could not hold on for much longer. Lu Ming closed the lid of the purple copper coffin again. However, he did not put it away. Instead, he held it in his hand and kept his guard up at all times. Soon, Another 5 to 6 hours had passed. The two of them looked more and more terrible. Their energy had been severely depleted. However, they did not know how far they were from the core area. If this continued, they would not be able to hold on for much longer. Chapter 43:43. Luckily, they still had a lot of desolation pills. Before they left, each of them had paid 20,000 desolation pills. They had received 4 million desolation pills, 2 million for each person. They could absorb desolation pills to replenish their energy. However, Lu Ming needed at least 12 million desolation pills to break through from the 5th to the 6th layer of the Emperor Supreme God realm. 2 million desolation pills was not a lot. It might not be enough for them to cross the disaster-avoiding ocean. Therefore, they could only try to save as much as possible and increase their speed. They would not give up until the last step. A few hours passed in the blink of an eye. That's... The two of them squinted their eyes and looked ahead. There was a huge shadow in front of them. At first glance, they thought it was a mountain. However, after taking a closer look, it was not a mountain, but a tree. A gigantic tree. The tree's crown reached into the clouds, covering the sky and the sun. In the next moment, a trace of shock appeared on their faces, because they saw a shocking scene. On the branches of this tree, there were actually some ghosts that could avert disaster. Yes, disaster-avoiding ghosts. At a glance, there were at least a dozen disaster-avoiding ghosts on the branches. They seemed to be resting. However, this time, the disaster-avoiding ghosts seemed to have sensed something. They opened their eyes at the same time and looked at Lu Ming and the others coldly. In the next moment, the disaster-avoiding ghosts charged at Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. Pacha! Lu Ming did not hesitate and opened the purple copper coffin. Just like the previous encounter with the calamity-avoiding ghosts, a mysterious aura emanated from the purple copper coffin. More than 10 calamity-avoiding ghosts screamed and turned to run. They ran to the branches of the tree and lay down on the branches, trembling. The two of them heaved a sigh of relief. There seems to be some seeds on the tree. Yiling pointed at the tree. Lu Ming looked over. True enough, he saw some seeds hanging on the branches. The seeds were black and the size of a fist. They gave off a hazy glow, and there were about 5 or 6 of them. The black fog from all directions gathered and was eventually absorbed by the black seeds. At this moment, one of the black seeds fell to the ground. When the black seed landed on the ground, it immediately took root and sprouted, growing into a small tree. Then the small tree grew quickly, and the surrounding black mist began to gather towards the small tree. That is, Lu Ming and Yiling's eyes widened. The reason for that was because, as the little tree grew, some of its branches actually had disaster-avoiding ghosts. In the beginning, the crossing disaster ghost was still relatively small. However, as the small tree rapidly grew, the crossing disaster ghost also became larger. The two of them looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Could it be that the ghost was born from this kind of tree? Soon, the small tree grew to a height of 100 meters, but it was still far from the big tree. At this moment, tree roots suddenly extended from the bottom of the big tree. More than a dozen roots, like a few long snakes, wrapped around the small tree, pulled it up by the roots, and pulled the small tree into the trunk of the big tree. The small tree quickly withered and finally merged into the roots of the big tree and disappeared. Lu Ming and Yiling realized that the big tree's glow seemed to be brighter. The two of them were dumbfounded. This big tree actually relied on devouring the small tree to improve itself. The seeds that it produced fell to the ground, sprouted rapidly, and grew rapidly. Before it was fully mature, it was devoured by the big tree. What was the principle behind this? The two of them were confused. At this moment, another seed fell to the ground. Just like before, the seed sprouted and grew rapidly. When it grew to about 100 meters, it was devoured by the big tree again. This seed is not to be underestimated. Not only can it grow rapidly, but it can also produce disaster-avoiding ghosts. If we can control it, it can become a powerful weapon. Lu Ming said, "You're right. If we enter the core area, this seed can also grow rapidly and can indeed become a powerful weapon. However, this tree is not to be underestimated. Yiling said. He had the same thought as Lu Ming. Lu Ming, since this seed can absorb the black mist here, if you can hold this seed, it might be able to isolate you from the black mist outside and prevent you from being corroded by the black mist. At this moment, the Bone Demon's voice sounded in Lu Ming's mind. Since entering the Grand Supreme Immortal City, the Bone Demon seemed to have been suppressed by the profound laws of the Grand Supreme Immortal City. It could only hide in Lu Ming's mind and could not come out. It has such an effect? Lu Ming's eyes flashed, and he seemed to be tempted. Let's give it a try. Lu Ming whispered and finally decided to give it a try. He had the purple copper coffin, so he might be able to give it a try. Not to mention whether they could enter the core area. Even if they could, there were many experts in the core area. The strongest geniuses of the heavenly human tribe and the other powerful tribes had already entered the core area. There were also some young men in their prime who had cultivated for many years. Some of them had reached the 8th layer of the Divine God Realm, and some had even reached the 9th layer of the Divine God Realm. With their strength, even if they entered the core area, they would most likely be targeted and would not be able to gain a foothold. However, if they had this seed, they would have a powerful weapon. Brother Yi, hold the fort for me. After saying that, Lu Ming dragged the purple copper coffin and rushed towards the crown of the tree. Now, there were a total of 3 seeds on the crown of the tree. Lu Ming rushed towards one of the seeds. However, just as Lu Ming approached the seed, tree roots extended from the bottom of the tree. They were like tentacles that swept towards Lu Ming. The tree roots waved and a strong wind whistled, bringing with it a thick black mist. Without hesitation, Lu Ming pushed the purple copper coffin open. That mysterious aura appeared again and spread out in all directions. The tree's roots came to a sudden stop upon being hit by this aura. They danced wildly on the spot, emitting a feeling of fear. This tree is indeed intelligent. It can feel fear. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He stepped forward and approached the tree roots with the purple copper coffin. The roots of the big tree danced crazily, and that feeling of fear became even more intense. Then, with a swish, it shrunk back. Lu Ming continued to rush towards the crown of the tree. On the branches, the evil spirits opened their eyes and stared at Lu Ming. They wanted to rush towards Lu Ming and kill Lu Ming. However, when they saw the purple copper coffin in Lu Ming's hand, they did not dare to do so. They could only watch. The next moment, Lu Ming approached one of the seeds. He waved his hand, and a wave of energy swept out and plucked the seed. Chapter 43-44. After plucking the first seed, Lu Ming stored it in his storage ring and proceeded to pluck the second one. Soon, all 3 seeds were stored in Lu Ming's storage ring. The big tree struggled continuously. Its roots waved wildly as it struggled in a frenzy. It seemed to be extremely furious. The crossing disaster ghosts on the branches were also extremely irritable. They screamed continuously and stared coldly at Lu Ming. If they were not afraid of the purple copper coffin's aura, they would have pounced on Lu Ming and torn Lu Ming to pieces. However, with the suppression of the purple copper coffin, they did not dare to do so. After Lu Ming plucked the 3 seeds, he retreated to Yiling's side. Bone Demon, how should I use it? Lu Ming secretly asked Bone Demon. There was a thick black mist on the seeds. Even if they obtained them, they could not use them because the mist would harm them. Drip a drop of blood on it and try, Bone Demon said. Lu Ming nodded. With a thought, a seed flew out of his storage ring. Lu Ming wrapped it with his forbidden power and suspended it in the air. The surrounding black fog was constantly gathering and being absorbed by the seed. Similarly, the black fog would also permeate the seed and constantly corrode the taboo power, causing Lu Ming's taboo power to be depleted rapidly. Lu Ming's expression changed. If he could not control the seed, holding it would increase the consumption of his power. Immediately, Lu Ming followed Bone Demon's suggestion. He squeezed out a drop of blood and flew it toward the seed. When the drop of blood approached the seed produced a suction force and absorbed the drop of blood. It entered the seed and merged with the seed. All of a sudden, Lu Ming had a strange feeling. It was as if the seed was already under his control. With a thought, the black fog on the surface of the seed vanished. It no longer corroded Lu Ming's forbidden energy. Moreover, the seed continued to absorb the black fog outside. Thus, the black fog around Lu Ming's body was absorbed, forming a vacuum around Lu Ming without any black fog. Lu Ming immediately felt the pressure lessen. The black fog was no longer a threat to him. It really works. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Yiling was also overjoyed. As long as the danger of the black fog was resolved, they would be able to move freely in the adversity-avoiding sea without any danger. Yiling here. Lu Ming waved his hand, and a seed flew towards Yiling. Yiling followed Lu Ming's instructions. First, he used his power to envelop the seed. Then, he squeezed out a drop of blood and flew it towards the seed. When the blood and the seed fused, Yiling controlled the seed. The black fog was no longer a threat to them. Then, Lu Ming used the same method to control the second seed. After that, the two of them used their movement techniques and continued to rush towards the core area. However, their state of mind was completely different from before. Previously, they had been under a lot of pressure. There was a strong sense of danger that constantly suppressed them. They had to keep moving forward and reach the core area as soon as possible. Otherwise, they would die. But now, although their speed was still very fast, they were very relaxed and didn't feel anxious at all. After that, they did not encounter any danger. Even if they encountered the adversity-avoiding ghost, it was scared away by the purple copper coffin. After a few days, they finally passed through the adversity-avoiding sea and arrived at a new land. The aura here was no different from the outer area. The only difference was that the desolation chi was much thicker. The desolation chi here is indeed much thicker than the outer area. Lu Ming sighed. This is just the ordinary area. The core area has ley lines. If we can find a ley line, the speed of condensing the desolation elixir will increase greatly. Yiling said. However, there is no black mist here like in the adversity-avoiding sea. I don't know if that seed will work. Lu Ming said. In the adversity-avoiding sea, they saw that the seed grew quickly and absorbed the black mist. However, the core area did not have that kind of black mist for them to absorb. Could the seed grow quickly? If the seed could not grow quickly, it would not be able to become their weapon of mass destruction. If they encountered the invincible powerhouses from the Heavenly Palace, Lu Ming and the rest would not be a match for them. Let's find a place to try it. Yiling said. That's the only way. Lu Ming nodded. Fortunately, they had 3 seeds in their hands. Even if they wasted one, it would not be a big deal. The two of them flew towards the depths of the core area at an extremely fast speed. Soon, the two of them arrived at a mountain kernel. Let's try it here, Lu Ming said. After that, Lu Ming took out a seed. With a wave of his hand, the seed flew towards the mountain col and landed on the ground. When the seed landed on the ground, it took root and sprouted at an astonishing speed. Then, it grew rapidly. This is absorbing the black mist. Lu Ming and Yiling were shocked. They could clearly feel that there were wisps of black mist flying towards them from the void. They were absorbed by the seed and grew rapidly. They were already very far away from the adversity-avoiding sea. However, the seed could still absorb the black mist. The black mist seemed to have broken through the void. It was really amazing. The seed took root and sprouted, turning into a small tree. The small tree continued to grow rapidly at an astonishing speed. In less than a minute, the small tree became a towering tree. They could clearly see that there were more than 10 adversity-avoiding ghosts on the branches of the tree. They were lying on the branches and seemed to be in a deep sleep. Lu Ming, give it a try. See if you can control this big tree, Yiling said. Lu Ming nodded and focused his mind. The next moment, he felt a connection between his mind and the tree. Everything about the tree seemed to be under his control. Attack. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and he gave an order. Suddenly, the soil on the ground churned. The roots of the tree stretched out from the ground and waved like long snakes. They whipped the air, and there were violent explosions. The power was terrifying. One of the roots lashed out at a nearby mountain peak, causing the mountain peak to explode. This is really amazing. Even a 9th-level Emperor God would not be able to withstand such an attack. Lu Ming thought to himself. He was very satisfied. Adversity-avoiding ghosts. With another thought, the more than 10 adversity avoiding ghosts who were lying on the branches suddenly opened their eyes. There was a ferocious, murderous intent in their eyes. They flew out from the branches and danced in the air. However, they did not fly towards Lu Ming and Yi Ling, because everything was under Lu Ming's control. Great! Yi Ling cheered from the side. Lu Ming also smiled. This seed was really a great weapon. Chapter 43-45. As long as this kind of seed was planted, it would quickly grow into a towering tree. Moreover, it would have an extremely shocking attack power. Moreover, the tree branches would give birth to evil spirits, which were the most terrifying. Once this tree was planted, the surrounding area would be completely under Lu Ming's control. If the people from the heavenly palace came, they would die. What a pity! We wasted a seed. We should have found the ley vein occupied by the heavenly palace and planted the seed there. That way, that ley vein would be under our control. Lu Ming sighed. Indeed, it was a mistake. Yi Ling also shook his head and sighed. With the effect of this seed, 1 seed could occupy an ley vein. 3 seeds could occupy 3 ley veins. Now, they had wasted a seed, which was equivalent to wasting an ley vein. They felt their hearts bleeding. It's all right. 2 ley veins are enough. Once our cultivation improves, why would we need to rely on this seed? Lu Ming smiled and quickly recovered. He was full of confidence. Now, he had lost because of his low cultivation. Once his cultivation improved, he would not be afraid of anyone. With his own strength, he could occupy other ley veins. Why would he need a seed? What they needed most was to establish a foothold in the beginning. With the seed, once they established a foothold in the beginning, there would be no problem. Let's go look for ley veins, Lu Ming said. Then, the 2 of them left to look for ley veins. In the core area, ley veins were not everywhere. In fact, there were not many ley veins. The ley veins in the core area were mainly divided into 2 levels: ordinary ley veins and advanced ley veins. Obviously, the concentration of desolation chi in the advanced ley veins was much higher than in the ordinary ley veins. Of course, the concentration of desolation chi in the ordinary ley veins was also much higher than in the outer area. Lu Ming and the rest had entered the core area relatively late. He reckoned that most of the Earth meridians had been occupied by others. Some people had entered the core area for a few years. No one knew what level their cultivation had reached. No matter what level their cultivation had reached, what Lu Ming needed to do now was to occupy the ley veins, condense desolation pills, and catch up with their cultivation. The core region was extremely vast, even larger than the outer regions. After searching for half a day, they finally found an earth vein. Up ahead, a mountain range stretched across the land. From afar, it looked like a huge dragon. Mist filled the air above the mountain range. That was clearly the dense, desolate chi that could not be dispersed. What a dense, desolate chi. Let's go. Yi Ling's eyes lit up as the 2 of them flew towards the mountain range. Soon, the 2 of them approached the mountain range. Who is it? This is the territory of my Sun clan. You 2 should leave. Several voices came from the mountain range. Then, several figures shot up into the sky and stood in front of Lu Ming and Yi Ling. There were more than 20 people in total, and all of them wore long golden robes. A layer of golden flames danced on their bodies, giving off a scorching aura. So it's people from the Sun clan. The 2 of them were startled. The solar race was ranked 31st on the Great Desolate 10,000 Races ranking. It could be considered a strong race. However, it was naturally much weaker than the top 10 races. Lu Ming and Yi Ling did not feel much pressure. This is the territory of your Sun clan? Isn't that ridiculous? The Taishang Immortal City is an ownerless place. Anyone can come here. Now, we're going to refine the desolate pills on this mountain range. Everyone, please make way. Lu Ming said. Our Sun clan has occupied it first, so it's our territory. You 2 should leave. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. A muscular man from the Sun clan said coldly. Lu Ming glanced at them. There were more than 20 people from the Sun clan. 5 of them were younger while the rest were in their prime. Among them, many of them had reached the 6th layer of the Emperor God realm. 2 of them, had even reached the 7th layer of the Emperor God realm. The Sun Clan had such high cultivations among their prime. It was evident that these people had gained a lot from this place. "We're going to meditate on this mountain range," Yi Ling said. "You're courting death." A muscular man from the Sun Clan shouted coldly. "Why are you wasting your breath on them? These two brats don't know what's good for them. Just kill them." "That's right. Kill them." The people from the Sun Clan were enraged. Each of them was filled with cold, murderous intent. They were like suns, emitting a scorching aura. Boom, boom, boom. These people moved. They were like suns, charging towards Lu Ming and the others. Clang. Yi Ling moved. He unsheathed his sword, and the sword light shone brightly. A few rays of sword light slashed towards the suns. Several suns were directly split in half by the sword light, and the people inside were also directly killed. Among them, there was a 7th layer of the Emperor God realm. Even though the strong man of the 7th Great Supreme God layer from the Sun Clan was 1 level higher than Yi Ling, his fighting strength hadn't reached 6 stars yet. It was only 3 stars. Yi Ling's battle strength was close to 10 stars. The difference was too great. The Sun Clan was not the Heavenly Human Clan. The muscular men from the Heavenly Human Clan that Lu Ming and the others had encountered previously had battle strengths of 5 stars, 6 stars, or even 7 stars. The young geniuses were even more terrifying. Some of them even had battle strength of 8 stars. However, they were from the Heavenly Human Clan. The Sun Clan was not even close to the top 10 clans, let alone the Heavenly Human Clan. In the Sun Clan, there were very few people who had battle strength of 4 stars. How could these people be a match for Lu Ming and Yi Ling when their cultivation was not much higher? When Yi Ling attacked, Lu Ming attacked as well. Spear light burst forth, and the suns were extinguished one by one. In just a few breaths, only 2 of the 20 Sun Clan members were left. The rest were all killed. "Oh no, let's leave. Let's go." There were still some people from the Sun Clan in the mountain range. They had not attacked previously. Instead, they were guarding the pill furnaces and refining the desolate pills. "Leave the pill furnaces before you go," Yi Ling said coldly. He turned into a ray of sword light and rushed over. The people guarding the pill furnaces were not even as strong as the previous batch. They were no match for Yi Ling. After a few of them were killed, the others were terrified. They threw out their pill furnaces and ran for their lives. Soon, Yi Ling flew over with a smile on his face. "Not bad. There are 30 pill furnaces with a diameter of 1 meter. Unfortunately, there are no large pill furnaces with a diameter of 3 meters, Yi Ling said. "Not bad." Lu Ming also smiled. The majority of the pill furnaces were definitely in the hands of the Heavenly Human Clan or the top 10 clans. It was already a very good harvest for the Sun Clan to be able to obtain 30 pill furnaces. The 2 of them split it equally. Each of them had 15 pill furnaces. "The 2 of you, tell me about the current situation in the core area. Tell me everything you know," Lu Ming asked coldly as he looked at the 2 young men from the Sun Clan. Chapter 43-46. The 2 young men of the Sun Tribe did not dare to hide anything. They immediately told Qin Nan everything they knew. Besides, it was not a big secret. There was nothing to hide. According to the 2 young men from the Sun Tribe, Lu Ming and Yi Ling had a rough understanding of the core area. There were a total of 96 earth veins in the vast land of the core area. There were 73 ordinary earth veins and 23 advanced earth veins. Each of the top 10 races occupied a high-grade earth vein. The Heavenly Human Tribe occupied a total of 13 high-grade earth veins. As for the other smaller tribes, they occupied the ordinary earth veins. Of course, there were also people from the smaller tribes who entered, but they were not strong enough to occupy the earth veins. Almost all the advanced earth veins have been occupied. However, did the Heaven Destroyer not occupy a single advanced earth vein? Lu Ming pondered. Perhaps the people of the Sky Exterminating Army had secretly occupied some small earth veins. Or perhaps the people of the Heavenly Extermination Army in this astral palace were not strong enough. The second level of the Taishang Immortal City was divided into 36 astral palaces, which meant that it was divided into 36 different areas. When everyone entered the Taishang Immortal City, they would be automatically assigned to one of the 36 astral palaces. Naturally, some astral palaces would be stronger, while others would be weaker. Perhaps the members of the Heaven Exterminating Army in this star palace were weaker. We have a simple map here. I'll give it to you now. Please let us go. A young man from the Sun Tribe said. Then, he took out a jade talisman and handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took the jade talisman and inserted a strand of energy. The jade talisman immediately lit up and a map appeared in the air. On this map, there were lines and dots of light. There were a total of 96 light spots. Among them, 23 were the brightest. Obviously, these light spots represented the earth veins. 23 light spots represented 23 advanced earth veins. Furthermore, there were words on every single dot of light, indicating which race it was occupied by. It was clear at a glance. This would be very helpful for Lu Ming and the others. Can we go now? The two Sun Race members looked at Lu Ming with hopeful eyes. Lu Ming casually waved his hand. The two Sun Race youths were overjoyed and flew away. However, a few sword lights flashed, and the two Sun Race youths' vital signs disappeared. Their corpses fell into the mountain range. Lu Ming was expressionless, as if he had expected this. Let's see how fast this ordinary earth vein can condense the great desolate pill, Lu Ming said. After that, the two of them landed in the middle of the mountain range and chose a relatively good location. They took out a few pill furnaces with a diameter of 1 meter and began to activate them to refine pills. A day later, they had a rough idea of what was going on. 240. In one day, a low-grade pill furnace could refine 2 batches of great desolate pills. Each batch contained 120 pills, for a total of 240 pills. This speed was 10 times faster than in the outer regions. Lu Ming and Yi Ling's eyes were extremely bright. Even their breathing became heavy. 10 times the speed. This was too shocking. This was just an ordinary earth vein. How fast would those high-grade earth veins condense the great desolate pill? Let's occupy a high-grade earth vein first. The two of them looked at each other and had the same idea. They did not plan to stay in this ordinary earth vein for long. Instead, they planned to occupy a high-grade earth vein. With the black seed, anything was possible. Without the seed, they could only wait in this ordinary earth vein. They might even be hunted down by the elites of the Heavenly Palace. Now, they were full of ambition and had no fear. The nearest high-grade earth vein is occupied by the Heavenly Human Tribe. Let's choose this earth vein, Lu Ming said. Yi Ling naturally had no objections. Then, the two of them set off and flew toward the nearest earth vein. This place was not too far away from the high-grade earth vein. In less than a day, the two of them arrived. It was a huge mountain range. It was 10 times bigger than the previous one. Dense fog filled the air. It was like a fairyland. Even from afar, he could feel an ancient aura surging toward him. A high-grade earth vein is indeed extraordinary. Lu Ming and Yi Ling's eyes lit up. Without hesitation, they stepped into the air and flew toward the center of the mountain range. The mountain range was continuous. The two sides were slightly shorter. The center was the highest. Obviously, it was also the place with the densest desolate aura. Heavenly Human Tribe, I'll give you 3 breaths time to get lost. Otherwise, you'll be killed. Before the two of them got close, a cold voice came from the mountain range. Heavenly Human Tribe? Very well. I'll give you 5 minutes to get lost. Otherwise, you'll be killed. Lu Ming replied. His voice spread throughout the mountain range. In the mountain range, all the Heavenly Human Tribe members heard it. Where did this idiot come from? He's courting death. How dare he? Kill him. His entire family should be executed. In the mountain range, voices filled with killing intent came out. Go and see which blind thing came from. Bring his head to me. In the mountain range, a Heavenly Human Tribe member passed down the order. Yes, someone accepted the order. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At least 10 figures broke through the air and flew toward Lu Ming and Yi Ling. In front of Lu Ming and Yi Ling, more than 10 figures appeared. They were all Heavenly Human Tribe members. When these Heavenly Human Tribe members saw Lu Ming and Yi Ling, Some of them could not help but widen their eyes. Mu Yun, it's Mu Yun, someone yelled. Among the many people, a few of them had chased after Lu Ming in the Adversity Crossing flying boat in the Adversity Crossing Sea. They recognized Lu Ming immediately. What? Mu Yun? He actually dares to come to us? In the mountain range, the remaining Heavenly Human Tribe members were shocked. Many Heavenly Human Tribe members who were too lazy to make a move put down what they were doing and flew into the sky. Everyone wanted to kill Lu Ming. As long as they killed him, they would have a meteoric rise in the future. Even those who were at the critical moment of breaking through stopped cultivating and rushed toward Lu Ming and Yi Ling. Let's go. At this moment, Lu Ming and Yi Ling rushed to the side and to a corner of the mountain range. Don't let him escape. Chase. At first, more than 10 Heavenly Human Tribe members chased after Lu Ming. Behind them, there was a group of people who were all Heavenly Human Tribe members. There were more than 100 of them. Lu Ming and Yi Ling could not be bothered. They sped up and rushed toward the mountain range. They were not far from the mountain range. In a few flashes, they arrived. Once they reached the mountain range, Lu Ming waved his hand and a black seed flew out and landed in the mountain range. Once the black seed landed in the mountain range, it took root and sprouted, growing rapidly. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.